that the foreign policy would at least remain a bit stable. But we've seen that foreign policy does change significantly with the change in administration. The Republicans are very conservative, Sandra, probably on the issues of culture, issues of abortion, women's rights, reproductive rights. A lot of the funding that comes through the non-governmental organizations in Kenya, coming from the way of America, they're usually laced with some of these discussions, issues to do with promotion of abortion rights to some extent, and we've seen the kind of clash that the US had with Uganda on the issue of LGBTQ. These are not issues we can ignore. A lot of funding for NGOs and other societal programs in Kenya does come from America. And Trump represents a marked shift from that kind of thinking. Is it right for us to say that nothing much will change?
I'm of a very different opinion from Bonasocion because one, you know, Donald Trump is a very radical individual. Yes. And he's a person who pushes all efforts to make sure that his principles and policies actually manifest. Mm-hmm. And so to begin with, I think one of the changes that we could probably see in Kenya, you see, his MAGA theme is about immigration restrictions. So one would wonder, how would that affect Kenya? But remember that the Central Bank of Kenya already factors in diaspora remittance as part of their revenue stream. And for example, in 2023, we had 542 billion as our diaspora revenue. In 2024, even before the year comes to a close, we've already recorded 607.3 billion. That's already a 69 billion rise from last year. So if there are immigration restrictions, we're saying that we may see a number of Kenyans coming back home. We may see less number of Kenyans going out there to America. Because that's our biggest diaspora destination. So that will mean CBK and the country will see a drop, may see a drop in our diaspora remittances. And you can see those numbers are not small. And then again, we go to his MAGA policy, where he puts, his theme is to put America first. Remember, during his first term, he had serious, nasty rhetorics about Africa. Mm-hmm. So we would probably see him now that the American economy is not at its best. We will see him restrict US taxes from going out, especially to the continent of Africa that he's never had very good words for, and retain more of that. In my view, the 300 million that is being paid for the Haiti project, I would not be surprised if we see Donald Trump decide that, you know, that's not a priority. Haiti has never been, you know, in his focus, even during his first term. Then again, we've got things like the climate change, which is one of our pet projects in Kenya and in Africa. Therefore, we could see a significant reduced funding in that line. When it comes to the LGBT, that's the only thing that I think Africa will be happy about. Because Donald Trump is very clear that, you know, LGBT is not his priority. He even said that he's going to reduce funding for, you know, schools that will try to that are pushing the children towards that line of culture. For Africa, that's a relief because, you know, that's not our culture. So I'm sure President Museveni is smiling from here till December because, you know, he had been put under a lot of pressure for that bill that is it a law that they had put out in Uganda. So I do not think that we can sit back and say Donald Trump will not change the situation. The only thing that we could expect him, he may try to keep face on global trade. For the simple reason that China is coming up. Mm-hmm. And so he would want to make sure that America retains its global lead when it comes to trade, especially in Africa. Funny enough, in Africa, all countries want to hang out with Africa for the resources that they can get out of us. Mm-hmm. And if he feels that China is getting a lot out of Africa, he will try on the trade platform to outdo China.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting sentiments there. Benji Ndolo, you've been very vocal on this about this election, especially on social media.